You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Alba Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Alba.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Alba along with Mr. Aaron Zommers on the board. It is now 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Welcome into hour number 2 of the big broadcast on Monday. Back to work, back to school, September 29th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Glad to have you along here. Blue skies and yellow leaves starting to fall here at the intersection of State and Fairchild in downtown Madison, Wisconsin. You set it up. Let's take a look at the beautiful Sam Davidson street cam. Look at that beautiful shot, Summers, today in downtown Madison. The crossroads of the state. Here, the cars going by. Look at the beautiful Overture Center. Right in the right-hand side, for those watching on the stream, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. A person navigating the road. She's crossing against the light as cars are coming by playing Frogger, a live version of Frogger, as she goes down State Street.
Bold, I will say.
Bold, not, elevator doesn't quite go to the top floor.
Although, like you mentioned, the leaves are turning yellow.
The leaves aren't. There's a UPS driver, one of our fine UPS. Many thanks to all of our great people delivering the crap that comes to our houses.
It is a lot.
And we go online, we order stuff, and show people got to deliver that. So the great drivers that we have. Thank you. Many thanks to Jane Matner. You can hear her every morning from 9 until 11 on many of these fine stations across the Civic Media Radio Network, and you can hear her on Madison Station, WMDX, over the air in the evening, a replay of the morning show at 10 o'clock. So tune her in on MDX or anywhere on the Civic Media app via WAUK in Milwaukee. New signal down there in Milwaukee as well.
Indeed. Now it's a true downtown Milwaukee station.
Yes. So you can hear. I think that's great. So hear Jane all over. And you couldn't find a nicer person. You couldn't find a more genuine person. And for my money, not a more talented person in radio. And we're lucky to have her here at Civic Media. Matt and Aaron air every morning from 9 to 11. And we're going to do this every Monday now. That'll be a lot of fun. And it takes a half an hour off of my plate where I could just say, oh, well, got a half an hour. We're just going to catch up with Jane. That's no work at all because she does all the heavy lifting, and it's just nice to have a conversation with somebody like that.
It's always time well spent with Jane.
That's a very, very good way to say it. Coming up a little bit later on in this hour, because Jane and I, guess what, are both talkers, and so we didn't have time to get to this, but I want to get into it a little bit later on in this half hour. And it's a more serious subject than we might usually do in hour number 2, but I think it's important. As they say, you can't really say I want to suss it out anymore because now suss means something different.
Well, it still works. People still say that.
Do they really? Even
yeah, but if you were spelling it, sussing it out is S-U-S-S, whereas if someone is sus, it's just S-U-S because it's short for suspicious.
Right. See, Zommers keeps us. And therein lies the point of this whole thing. I think a lot of you know this. I've been trying to be more reflective lately myself of the show. And so I'm trying to dig down, like, why are people reacting to things a certain way? How are they hearing things? How am I talking about things? And so I did some deep dives over the weekend, and this surprise, I guess I kind of sort of thought it, but never really stopped to say, well, is this true? The right, if you want to just be very general, the conservative side, have a lot more people who are engaging youth on campuses in what I would say is a positive way. And one of these people, Brilliant Hollyhand, is all over socials. He's kind of, I don't know if he's self-describing, but others are saying he's kind of Charlie Kirk 2.0, much younger, freshman in college at Clemson, now flying all over the country, well-spoken, good-looking, Christian, but very, from the things I've seen, delivers things, whether you agree with it or not, very calmly and friendly. And there are other people like this on the right, particularly Gen Zers, young people. And you compare that with what's out there, who's speaking to Gen Z on the left. And by and large, what I can see, it's people who are perhaps very well-intentioned, but are very angry. And there's a lot of yelling and a lot of screaming and a lot of indignation over Donald Trump. Now, all those things may be justified, but the question I want to get into later this hour is that sustainable and how is it working? Because as recently as 12, 13 years ago, when I was working a block up the street in the state capitol, my former party, which I left in 2011, they spent a lot of time trying to pass laws under the auspices of voter ID, which were nothing more than voter suppression. And part of that was to suppress the vote on college campuses, because the thought was, well, the college kids are all voting Democratic, or the majority are. I think if you look at the 2024 election results, that ain't particularly true anymore. And why is it that conservatives are starting to gain, particularly among white males on our college campuses, and liberals and Democrats are losing that argument on our college campuses? I have a couple of different clips from social media from Gen Z going to play for you a little bit later, and want you to weigh in, because I think it starts to get us down to a realistic discussion about how and why people are hearing certain things. So we're going to get into that in just a minute here. Also going to play another edition of What's Worse, glasses or contacts. I've had both. But right now at 13 past the hour of 3 o'clock, time once again. Well, let me just set that up again. I'll be so glad when this week is over. Right now it's 13 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time once again to play Civic Media's Green and Gold Text to Win multi-state contest. Here's how we play. If you don't have it, download the Civic Media app on your Apple or Android device. It's free. Takes less than a minute. It's what Gail King calls a deal. Open it up. First 10 stations is where you'll find us. Choose one of those. Open that up. You'll see a little text icon in the lower right-hand corner. I'm going to give you a word in just a moment. Text that word on the Civic Media app. Up for grabs today. Somebody today is going to win $200 cash and gold jewelry. And everybody will be eligible to win the one grand prize, 2 club-level indoor seats to Green Bay versus Minnesota. It's a Green Bay home game, November 23rd of this year at noon, plus a gas card to get you to the game. It has a value of $1,550. It is a multi-state contest. Here is the word to text in right now. You have until 4 o'clock. Today's word is metal. Metal. M-E-T-A-L. Make sure you type it correctly. You have the right spelling for the word I just said, metal. M as in Mary, E, T as in Todd, A, L. Not another word that sounds very, very similar, but metal, as in gold is a metal. Is it though? Or is it like a mineral or something?
It's metal, I'm pretty sure.
It? All right. So metal, M-E-T as in Todd, A-L. You must spell it correctly. The computer will not recognize a close proximity. Close, as they say, only counts in horseshoes and grenades, but not in Civic Media's Text to Win, Green and Gold multi-state contest. Today's word for this hour, metal. M-E-T as in Todd, A-L, metal. Text it right now. Good luck, everybody. Sometimes I crack myself up because the attorneys on the 12th floor, they don't like me horsing around, and so we're pre-recording these now so I don't goof up. And so we do that bit before we start the show. So if you're watching the stream, you're like, why can I hear Todd, but I don't see him talking? It's because they're pre-recorded right before we go on. And today we actually had to stop the taping because I messed up. So no horsing around, Zommers. No horsing around.
Yeah, you'll hear that version, I think, tomorrow. That particular one.
Yes. By the way, tomorrow, great guest lined up. Alex Modorsky is going to be here talking about the Stewardship Fund, the Noel Nelson Stewardship Fund. And boy, don't we need more information on that, because that's a great program that's in danger of not continuing. Alex Modorsky from the Nature Conservancy will be here. And also our old friend Sean Fettaplace, who will be here in his capacity as National Campaigns Director for Main Street Action on the budget reconciliation coming up out in D.C. and the government shutdown, the impending one, how it'll impact healthcare. So we in fairness, we recorded those today because tomorrow, so no calls tomorrow, because I think you heard me maybe say, I was talking to Jane Matnair, Dad's having a little minor oral surgery, so I'm going up to be with them tomorrow in Shawano. So it'll be all new content, and we're going to give you the green and gold word tomorrow. So tune in for that. And then we'll be back from Shawano on Wednesday with an all-new live program. All right, time once again to play What's Worse. Let's go. Time once again for What's Worse. Nothing giveaway, no prize money involved. But it is your chance to have your voice heard on all 10 news, talk, and sports stations in the Civic Media Radio Network. All right. Timely indeed, as Mike Lucas says. I have had both. It's not girlfriends versus boyfriends.
Although.
No. I've had both. What's worse? The category today, glasses or contacts. Glasses or contacts. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Zommers, you and I both have glasses on. Have you ever had contacts?
I have when I was younger, in like 5th and 6th grade.
Really? That young? That's unusual, isn't it?
Well, the reason is because I took dance classes as a kid, and the dances get more vigorous as you get older. And so we were thinking, maybe you should do contacts so I can go on stage and not have to worry about my glasses flying off my face. I hated it.
Really? It didn't work?
We can get into why, but...
Now, if you were in the Betty Hayes School of Dance and Richland Center, Betty was, you were not allowed to wear glasses.
Not allowed?
Nope.
Yeah.
They were not allowed on stage.
See, my vision is so terrible that I needed contact. Like, even in 5th and 6th grade and whatever, I would have needed something.
What's worse, glasses or contacts? Glasses or contacts? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. You can also text us on the aforementioned Civic Media app. Download it today, your Apple or Android device. It's free. It takes less than a minute. It's what CBS's Gail King calls a deal. I tuned into CBS. They have a new set, which somehow is smaller. It looks smaller than the old one. That's a whole nother cup of coffee on National Coffee Day. Come on back. Your phone calls, 855-752-4842. Glasses or contacts. What's worse? And why I feel liberals are losing the war on campus.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Love that song. Well done, Zombers. Gets me in a good mood. Bright, sunshiny day. It is bright and sunshiny here at the world headquarters of Civic Media, downtown Madison, capital city of the great state of Wisconsin. 23 now past the hour of 3 o'clock, right in the middle of today's What's Worse, glasses or contacts. Glasses or contacts. 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Mary on the text line, listening on WMDX out of the beautiful city of Mount Horeb. Well, it might be a village. Mount Horeb, city or village? I bet it's a village, but we'll see. And Mount Horeb, Mary says, I have a hybrid answer. Contacts that still require you to use readers. The wonderful option that comes with aging. Well, yeah, right? I had cataract surgery 3 years ago, and I don't have to wear glasses to drive, but to read, like you see here, I got to have, they're kind of a higher end reader, I guess.
Yeah, I actually, in my two most recent eye doctor appointments, they had me check if having like the little, not quite bifocals, but magnifiers in the bottom halves would work better. And I'm like, man, my eyes suck.
Kevin in beautiful Omro. I've been to Omro. Beautiful Omro. Kevin listening on WISS out of Oshkosh says contacts are worse. Ripped my cornea. Oh my gosh. And no warranty. Ugh. Sorry to hear that, Kevin. Hope everything is okay now. Yeah, I mean, certainly you got to use, I mean, like I said, there was a period of time I had contacts for a while, and you know, I know, and now depending upon your prescription, some you can keep in for like up to a week or whatever without taking them out.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, but don't just say, well, I heard that on Todd's show. Your ophthalmologist or optician has to tell you that you're the right candidate. It's a special kind of lens, a special kind of drops, but yeah, it's a lot more work than glasses. But to your earlier point, Zombers, if you're an active person outside, well,
right. And or you can, as one of the pitchers on the Brewers, you can have essentially goggles with your prescription in them. But those look goofy as hell.
But I think they look kind of cool on some of these players.
Yeah, I just mean I wouldn't want to wear that all day, every day.
Well, no, not all day, every day. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Megan, where's Megan there? Speaking of things I can't read, Zombers is a little, what does Megan have to say there?
Megan, our own Megan here in the office, says, I also hate wearing contacts. I only wear them for special occasions now, but high school me tried to wear them all day long because I hated my glasses back then. Life is so much easier in glasses.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. And now glasses are pretty cool. I mean, all kinds of different, weights and all that kind of stuff. 855-752-4842. Let's go to the phone lines. Gary, getting her done in beautiful Sussex. Gary, thanks for calling. Glasses or contacts, what's worse?
Well, I can't say what's worse, but I can say what's better. Glasses are better. For one reason, I look smarter. When I don't wear my glasses, I don't look as smart. So people do respect me more. My wife, she wears contacts. When she sneezes, she sometimes pops her contact out. She can't find it, or it goes back up in her eyelid.
Right.
So, yeah, I'll take glasses. I'm a heating contractor, so I all over the place. I'd rather get a chip in my glass or my plastic lens than getting something in my eyeball,
Yeah.
All right. But I do want to make a comment about what you were talking about earlier, if I can.
Sure. We're going to do this after the upcoming farm report. But we're talking what we're going to get into is whether Gen Z, the young people, whether conservatives are winning the kind of, I don't want to, we can't use war anymore because that brings up all kinds of bad stuff. But the conservatives are winning the game of trying to get people to sign up for the Republican side versus the liberal side of college campuses. Go ahead.
About a year ago, I noticed that some of these colleges, they're having revival. I mean, Christian revivals on these colleges. These kids want something. I mean, they're looking for something at that age, 18, 19. What are they going to do with their life? Mm-hmm. Christian people, like you and I talked earlier, are just happier people. Now, I want to say something about this Charlie Kirk thing. I find it interesting. I've been asking a lot of older people, do you know who Charlie Kirk is? And they said, oh, absolutely. I said, before he was murdered, did you ever hear of him? Never. Mm. Well, he is more popular in death than he is when he was alive, at least with people. Now, I saw him because once in a while I'd see him on Fox, but I never sat there and turned on a podcast with him. But what I do now is I go back and I look at some of these. Go ahead, Todd.
No, only because I'm up against the clock, I want to get your reaction to this. I don't necessarily disagree with anything you're saying, but I've talked to people that also really never heard of him. But do you also agree or disagree that it depends on where you get your information and news from, or what you listen or watch, as to what you thought of him?
Of course. He was on Fox, people on Fox, and when I've seen him on Fox, he was like, I thought he was going to become president of the United States someday. Not like in the next 10 years, but someday, because this guy just has no fear.
And interest in time, if you watch or listen to certain things, all you heard about him is talking about his quote-unquote Christian values. If you watched his podcast or other things, you heard him talking about more divisive opinions on social issues. And I think therein it depends on what people listened or watched. And people have strong opinions because they say, well, he never said that. Well, he did, but you just never saw it. And that's what I find fascinating.
I do go back and I on YouTube and I watched a lot of his debates with these young kids. I never watched the podcast, but he was really calm. These people at these colleges are very disrespectful of him, and he just was very nice back, I thought.
Gary, always appreciate your perspective and call. Stay tuned. We're going to continue this conversation on the other side. Who is winning the messaging on college campuses in Wisconsin and America? It's the All Ball Show on the Civic Media Radio. Pursuing truth wherever it may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd All Ball Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 35 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on a Monday, September 29th, 2025. Glad to have you along. Aaron Sommer is a great producer engineer on the board right in the middle of today's green and gold text to win multi-state contest. The word to text in via the Civic Media app is metal. Metal, as in something is made of metal. M as in Mary, E, T as in Todd, A, L, metal. Make sure that you spell that correctly and not something else. Metal is the word to text in right now in the Civic Media app. Up for grabs today, our daily prize of $200 cash and gold jewelry. Everybody gets entered in for the grand prize of 2 club-level indoor seats to Green Bay versus Minnesota. The word is metal. Text it in right now. You have until 4 o'clock. And then Maggie and Pete will have a word a little bit later on in the day. All right. This is something I want to get into, and I want to have a good discussion on it. I just find it fascinating. Like, one of the things that, as I said before, I'm trying to do more of is be more reflective myself of this show. And, like, what am I doing to enhance discussions, or am I harming it? Am I throwing gasoline on it, or am I helping to bring understanding? And that's not to say that I think I have all the answers. It's how can I foster a discussion that brings out truthful dialogue? So one of the things that fascinates me are how Republicans, how Trump won Wisconsin again. And when I was working in the legislature 12, 15 years ago, my former party, I left the Republican Party in 2011, they were trying to suppress the vote on college campuses because they said young people tend to vote more Democratic. Sommers, you're 26. Do you think that's still, I'm not looking at data, but just give me your gut. Do you think that's still true today, that 50% plus one of people your age tend to vote more Democratic?
I think for women, absolutely. I think for men, it's sliding hard in the opposite direction.
And quick.
Yeah.
I think that's fascinating. I hear, one of the cool things is, that I have 2 godsons. I don't talk a lot of politics to them right now because, number one, they're out of the state. But when you hang out, I have two nieces who are in that category. And I don't think you're wrong, Zommers. And so one of the reasons that I feel that way is because of how young people are being talked to, with, and at. And you kind of have 2 categories. You have the social media platforms, and then you have the live in-person discussions, right? So I chose a couple, not really randomly, But here's one of the things I looked at is that on the left, and we get algorithms. This is a whole other show. But you choose something on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, and the algorithm recognizes that, and so it feeds you more things to look at that you're already, so it reinforces your natural biases.
Because it wants you to spend as much time on there as possible.
Right. And so that's built in. So if you consume media and I consume both, probably more left than right, if I'm being honest. But there's a lot, and the thing I notice on the left, these young people in their 20s, is they come on, a lot of it's in their car. I don't get all that. Why now you have to do stuff in your car, but you do. And there's a lot of anger. And I get that because, look, I spent a lot of time on this show in 2024 warning people that this is the existential choice, democracy or authoritarianism. And I think that people on the left now feel because Donald Trump got a second term, they feel like it's all over because you told me that it was an existential choice, that democracy is. And I think there's a lot of hopelessness and a lot of anger. Like, how do we change this? And so here, this is a woman who goes by Madeline. She appears to be in her early 20s. This was reposted on an anti-Trump Twitter site, but this is a TikTok post from Madeline. I'm going to play you the whole thing, and then we'll play you somebody on the conservative side. So this is from Madeline on TikTok.
It was just announced that they're going to send the military out against United States citizens in Portland. 2 days ago, there was an executive order signed stating that they're going to increase the surveillance and crackdowns on Antifa, which is simply anybody who is anti-fascist. We are also missing over 1,200 people from these detention centers. 1,200 people are missing. And you think that they care about people standing around in the streets with signs? Are you finally going to listen to all of us who have been saying for months that the time for that is over, it doesn't work anymore? They don't care. They don't care. They don't care! We also don't have midterms. We don't have over a whole year. We're only 9 months in and there's almost a full consolidation of power. Come on.
A lot of passion, obviously a lot of anger, and there's a lot of guys, not just women, but guys doing the same type of thing. And I found one that there wasn't swearing, because there's usually a lot of swearing in these, and that's fine, passion, online. But I'm struck by a couple of things in that one, Zommers. I saw the same thing when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, and there were a lot of wonderful, very earnest young women at the state capitol who were doing interviews and saying, we cannot do this. We are the United States. They cannot do this to us. And as someone who worked in politics, I thought, well, actually they can. And I think that there are consequences when people don't go and vote. And there are consequences when people want to protest on college campuses and talk about Gaza and Palestine and say, well, I can't vote for Joe Biden. I have to go and interrupt Kamala Harris. I can't vote for Kamala Harris because she's, quote unquote, the lesser of two evils. And then come back like this young woman, very earnest and passionate, and say, well, we can't stand for this. We can't wait for midterm elections. Oh, well, what's your option? I have no idea if she voted. I have no idea who she voted for. But right or agree or disagree, Zommers, I think it represents people on the left who are angry and protest, but then don't want to vote because their candidate isn't perfect on all their litmus tests.
Well, I will say overall, yes. With this individual, I don't know anything about
right. We
her.
don't know.
She may have voted for Harris. She may not have. I will say, I think that this frustration is still justified. It's just,
sure.
What do you do with it? Because
right.
It does feel like nobody cares. Like all the rules are gone. Like what the hell are we supposed to do to, have any positive effect on the world? And so I get where it's coming from.
Yeah, I'm not bad mouthing her earnestness or her anger or not saying it's justified. I'm just saying that's what you see out a lot on social media. Now, on the other side, here's this kid, Brilliant Hollyhand, who is kind of billing himself, not overtly, not in name, but essentially as the next Charlie Kirk, was an acolyte of Charlie Kirk, is very popular, has 222,000 followers on Twitter. Here he's talking in a recent post about Gen Z.
It's amazing that President Trump's back in the Oval Office. It's amazing that Republicans have control of Congress. It is. You see, those are short-term fixes on a long-term cultural problem, though. It's wonderful that Gen Z shifted the pendulum to the right in this cycle. How do we keep Gen Z behind the GOP going forward? For this to be a generational shift and not a one-time change. There was frustration that prompted my generation to get behind President Trump. How do we turn that frustration into achievements? Well, that's what the president's done for the past 9 months.
That is brilliant Hollyhand at a recent, and he's flying all over the country doing in-person types of events. And so I just thought to myself, well, do some research, Todd, and figure. So I put into Google, who are the Gen Z liberals speaking on campus? This is the, not saying that Google has all the answers, but here's the what I got back. There is no single equivalent group of prominent Gen Z liberals speaking that tour college campuses with the same high-profile, organized approach as conservative groups like Turning Point USA. Instead, young liberal voices on campuses are more often represented by student-led movements, activists, and influencers who primarily use social media to organize and broadcast their views. And so I think it goes to your point, Zommers, that what do you do with your anger? What do you do with your frustration? Look, a peaceful protest, that's people's right, under the Constitution. But that has to be transformed into action of signing up people and turning them out to the polls. And in my opinion, it can't be a litmus test of, oh, well, if this person isn't 100% pro-choice, they're not good enough. We're not voting for them. If this individual won't pledge to defund ourselves from Israel, then I'm not going to vote for that person. As someone who worked in politics a long time, ran races, lost some, won a lot, you can't play a zero-sum game and expect to have political success long term.
I think part of it is the slow erosion of education and civics in schools, where kids, and I include myself in this despite being an adult, people, Gen Z and younger,
young people,
don't all understand how the government works. They're not taught much of it, and social media distracts all of us so much, and the internet and everything, that we don't know that it takes so long. And the thought is always, well, why is it so slow? Because that's the way we've done it. Why do we have to do things the way we've done it? Why can't we just do what's right?
855-752-4842. Let's go to the phone lines. Cam, listening to WISS in Oshkosh out of Appleton. Cam, thanks for calling in. What say you?
Hey, so there's actually a lot of left-wing social media personalities that aren't involved with any of the PACs, like Brian Tyler Cohen's PACs that he created. But something I wanted to point out was that you have people that do participate in that PAC that Brian Cohen has, like David Pakman, who covered an interview with Election Truth Alliance reviewing the actual data and from the 2024 election, and he's not allowed to post about anything without verifying it through Brian Cohen's PAC first, which goes through the Dems directly, who then all give a yes or a no to things being posted. So they signed off on this, on the election hack information, saying, yeah, go ahead and talk about it. And I feel like that did more of a justice for people from my generation and below than any of this discussion is doing, because I feel like you're playing like just random voice lines and then saying "see" loud and shrill versus.
I'm playing examples of. I mean, I've been watching this stuff since the election, Cam. And I consume way too much. I mean, do you care to share how old you are?
I'm 29.
So you're 29. So do you feel that there are people on the left speaking to you that motivate you to vote? And do you? I mean, I'm assuming you're not in college anymore. I'm not. I mean, but a long time since I'm just looking at who's speaking to people on college campuses, and I think that there are a lot. I'm hearing this tangentially from people that have white straight male kids, college age, that are saying, they feel left out of the political process. And part of the reason they're voting conservatively is because they feel that that gives them an avenue, that they feel left out of the left. Do you think that's fair or unfair?
I don't think that that's fair at all. I see that stuff, and I see that there's a lot of it pushed by bots on social media.
And I think that's a fair thing to say. Absolutely. Come on back. We'll continue this discussion on social media, on messaging to young people. And what's next? Don't go anywhere. It's the Todd Albaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Welcome back to the Todd Albaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Now, 8 minutes before the hour of 4 o'clock at the top of the hour, ABC or CBS News, depending upon which of our great stations you're listening to. Weather update with our great weather team. It's going to be nice all week, hot, sunny, summer-like. Enjoy it because fall is coming after this weekend. And then the fantastic reporter. Nobody does it better than Mike Clemens when it comes to sports. He was down in Dallas last night. 40-40 tie. Not good at all. Mike has the details for you in the sports report, followed by a great edition of the Maggie Dawn Show from 4 until 6, and another great edition of Nightlight with Pete Schwaba from 6 until 8. They will both have a new text to win green and gold text to win word for you. Our word, good until 4 o'clock, metal. Text the word metal. METAL. Metal is the text to win word until 4 o'clock. Fabulous cash and prizes are up for grabs. Talking about, and look, I'm getting a lot of, and I love the fact that I have a lot of hot takes because I think it helps me understand that this is something I think a lot of us are thinking about, but maybe not talking about. And I'm not here to tell you that I think I have all the answers on this. I just think self-reflection is good. And I think how we talk about things and is it working is a good exercise. And I think when it comes to young people on college campuses, I think the left has, and many of it justifiable, anger, but that's all it is. And I don't think that anger is a long-term viable political strategy. You have to give people something to vote for, to rally for, to be hopeful for. And I'm not saying I agree with how the right is doing it. I'm just saying, to Zamer's point earlier, it is having a successful effect with particularly young white straight males in college campuses. And the social media algorithms that are bombarding most of us have a dramatic effect on that. And I don't think that any of us, including me, fully understands what's going on. 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Let's go quickly to the old Facebook. People watching on Facebook. Heather, up in beautiful Eau Claire, says, I'm baffled just as you are. I've spoken with friends who say they talk with friends about the exact same speech that was given, but their algorithm shows them a totally different segment of the speech. Same topic, same speech, way different takes on it, depending on what you click on. The invisible internet controllers are dividing people. That sounds like a woo-woo weird stuff, but where is it coming from? Bots, hackers? I agree with my little sister. And a lot of this is from foreign adversaries who are pitting us against ourselves.
Yep.
855-752-4842. Charles, listening on AUK in Milwaukee. Charles, thanks for calling. What say you?
Hey, Todd. So my kids are old enough to vote, and we talk. I don't expect my kids to go on social media or listen to a podcaster to get their information. I talk to them about the importance of voting and what it means for us, especially having black sons and black daughters. If my boys know their worth and they know that their sisters, they're not in competition with their sisters. Now, if these young white men don't know their worth, then that sounds like a home problem, that they haven't been taught to feel good about themselves. and they haven't been taught that you respect women. If it wasn't for your mother, you wouldn't be here. And what they're going to the college campuses. What are they talking to these young white men about? Are they talking to them about the great white replacement theory? But that's a huge thing out there right now. Are we having too many black and brown people in this country? Are they going to wipe away the white race?
Yeah.
I mean, ignorant stuff like that when African Americans only represent, I think, 12% of the U.S. population.
Right. Charles, I wish we don't hang up. I wish we had more time because I always love your perspective. This is really important stuff. I couldn't agree with you more that there are problems at home, but you can't legislate that necessarily. B, I haven't attended any of these rallies. It's just stuff I read or watch or whatever. But to your point, my sense is that these more conservative groups are giving young white straight men a sense of belonging. Now, it might be the wrong kind of belonging, but I think that they are feeling a need for belonging. And on the left, would you agree or disagree, Charles, that sometimes, I'm not trying to paint with a broad brush, but sometimes on the left, in trying to promote their own cause, they're doing it at the expense of not bringing other people along. And so people that aren't part of the cause feel ostracized. Is that fair or unfair?
No, that's fair. And I can see how people would think that well, they're not trying to help me out. They're only concerned about women, or we've been told that they're only concerned about trans people. I just still say, Todd, your people at home, family members, have to talk to you and have to talk to you about the right thing.
Yeah, 100%.
And like I said, if you're a young man and you don't understand your worth, then I think that's a family problem. This whole manosphere thing. I don't drive a pickup truck. I don't walk around like a manly man with my shirt off, but I guarantee you, I can get stuff done.
But isn't
I don't walk around saying I'm a manly man.
Right.
Nor do my boys.
But Charles, to get to your point, or at least my perception, it's how parents tell their kids, in particular sons, what it means to be a man. Right? It's not about your
right.
appearance or your strength or your physical strength. It's your character. It's who you are inside. Will your friends and family respect you? Isn't that what it's supposed to be about, Charles?
That's what it's yes, Todd. But that's not what we're getting out here today.
100%.
Yeah,
Wish we had more time, Charles. I always appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for your perspective. Great show coming up tomorrow. Hope you join us then. Maggie Dawn is next. Whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, do not give up. Keep banging your drum. We'll see you tomorrow.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.